Most people don't really realize this. Most people have no idea that the government's position, and currently maybe the Supreme Court's position, is that you don't have any Fourth Amendment right in your records, unless you've got them in your house. And I think this is something that the more people understand it and the more people are drawn to this issue, maybe people will demand that we have some justice here, that we live in an era where ultimately no one is going to have paper records in their house. All of your records are going to be electronic. And because they're held and they're managed somehow by a third party, does that really mean we've given up our rights? See, the thing is the government might say if your cell phone's in your house, then they do, but the cell phone's connected to someplace outside your house. So your email is being stored on some server somewhere. I see no way that it could be construed that you've given up your right to privacy because someone else is holding the records for you, because that's the way in the digital age we've come to hold records. We talked a little bit earlier about trust. And I think trust is incredibly important. I don't discount that the vast majority of people who work in our intelligence community are honest, trustworthy, patriotic. I think we all want the same thing. We want to protect our country. We want to protect our loved ones. We want to, honor the memory of those who died on 9/11 by capturing and stopping the people who would attack us. But the question is, can you catch more or less, or are we more or less effective in catching terrorists if we use the Constitution, if we use traditional warrants? And I think without question, if you talk to people, they'll tell you that they get a great deal more information and more specific information by using warrants. Let's say tomorrow that there was a president, that we elected a president that eliminated the bulk collection of data. Let's just say it happened. What do you think would happen? People are like, oh, the sky would fall, we'd be overrun with jihadists. Well, maybe we could rely on the Constitution. Maybe we could get warrants. The information's out there. There are warrants. If you make the warrant specific, there's no limit to what you can't get through a warrant. The warrants are given the vast majority of the time. People complain and they say, oh, it'd take too long, it'd be inconvenient. Make it better then. Put your judges on 24 hours a day. Appoint 24 more judges and put them on call all the time, and let's do this. There's no reason why you can't have security and liberty at the same time. Another amendment we have, should the leadership agree to allow us to have amendments and to have votes and to have a debate on this, is an amendment that would require the court to approve national security letters. In a 3-year period between 2003 and 2006, 140,000 national security letters were given out. So national security letters are warrants that are below the constitutional bar. They don't meet the constitutional bar because they're not being signed by a judge. They're being signed by the police. So you get rid of one of the great protections we had, which was the check and balance, that the police would always go to the judiciary. It was a different branch. The judge is sitting at home reasonable, hopefully in a reasonable fashion. The judge isn't in hot pursuit. The judge isn't letting their emotions. The judge wasn't just punched by one of the convicts. The judge is sitting home in a reasoned fashion trying to make a reasonable decision. But still, the vast majority of the time, warrants are given. So if there is a policeman outside the house of an alleged rapist and they want to go in, they call on a cell phone. The judge almost always says yes. Same for murder. Does anybody imagine that there would be a judge in our country that you call them and you say, John Doe, we have evidence that he traveled to Yemen last year. We have evidence that he talked to Joe Smith, who we have evidence is a terrorist, and we want a warrant to tap his phone. Look, I'm the biggest privacy advocate in the world. I'll sign the warrant immediately. I don't know of anybody that's not going to sign warrants to allow searches to occur. But you have the check and balance so it doesn't get out of control. What happened and what's happening now is we let down our guard, we have no checks and balances, and so what's happened is, what does the government do when you're not watching? If you look away, the government will abuse their power. Lord Acton said that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. The corollary to that would be that power grows, and when you're not watching, power grows exponentially. And they will do whatever they can get away with. They will do it in the name of patriotism. And actually, I don't even question their motives. They believe themselves to be patriotic, but they think that we have to do anything that it takes, no matter whether it contravenes the Constitution or it contravenes the Bill of Rights.